Hi. If there is one thing you've got to know about me, it is that I am an eternal hater of scoring websites. Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, Goodreads, and of course, My Anime List or any list. Sure, it's mostly because most of these websites end up hating something that I love, and I take that very personally. But the other reason is just because they are notoriously sexist and skew heavily towards male-targeted media and end up shitting on media made for women more often. That is proven. Do not try to say that's wrong. Look it up. So today I want to right the wrongs of manga rankings past. I am going to give the true, definitive list of the top 100 shoujo manga with an asterisk. I have pulled from the top 100 shoujo manga series on both My Anime List and AniList. I have combined them and I made a tier list where we will go through and rank the top 100 titles that I found. This will be a highly professional, highly meticulous examination of what people thought were the best shoujo series on these scoring sites, and what I will have to say on the matter as a self-proclaimed shoujo connoisseur. This wouldn't be a ranking video if we did not have some funny tier list titles and me going through what I have named each one of them and what they mean. Our tier rankings for today include the following. Of course, we have an obligatory I haven't read these series yet tier. This is because I have not read all 100 manga series that I have found today. However, most of the ones that I haven't read are already on my TBR. It's not because I haven't read them because of a lack of interest, just a lack of time. So I will get to them someday, maybe, probably. Okay, let's move on. At the bottom, we have the Kazuya Kinoshita tier. This is the main protagonist of Rent-a-Girlfriend who is insufferable, annoying, boring, and worthless. That isn't to say that the shoujo that I put in this tier are as bad as that, or even as bad as Rent-a-Girlfriend for that matter. This is really just the tier for any series that I dislike enough that I think it should be forced to be rented by this absolute cuck of a man, which is truly just the ultimate penance it must pay for me not liking it. Above that tier, we have the
I'm making a spectacle? That's right, I am a spectacle
tier. This is for the shoujo that aren't very good. Maybe they're not written very well, or they have a trope I really don't like in them, but at the same time, I can't seem to look away. That in itself does make the series good enough that it captured my attention in some capacity at the very least, but it did still have an earnest desire to make love to its real sister.
I am weird. I am abnormal. I am condemned by my mother.
Next up is the cheese and dessert tier, named after the shoujo magazines Cheese and Dessert. Two anthologies that consistently make the most decent to middling shoujo series that I just continually eat up, as their names might suggest. But much like how I used to eat Andy's ice cream almost every day and I would shit myself every time afterwards, and it wasn't until I realized I was lactose intolerant that I had to stop, the same goes for these magazines too. One up from that tier is the
What if I told you that a woman's manga
tier. This is for the shoujo that have risen above and beaten all odds to be good, pummeling the competition along the way to rise to the top. Sure, maybe it had its issues every now and then, and, you know, maybe it even fell down the right-wing pipeline, but it happens to the best of us, am I right? It wasn't the series' fault. They said they were sorry. Next is the androgynous shoujo character made by Ryoko Ikeda tier. These are near perfect shoujo series. Ones that are so immaculate and beautiful, so elegant and regal, that you kinda don't really care about the flaw or two that it has. Those don't really matter when you have a genderless, curly-haired, flowing, rose petal flying character flirting with you on the page. And the last tier on this list is the chapter 138 of Chihayafuru tier. This is for those shoujo series that you cannot find a single flaw in. Every emotional beat hits, every line cuts deep, you're weeping at how much it has touched you. You love their fingers, their hair, their mouth that they open wide like an idiot. These are truly the peakest of peak fiction. And now that we have gone through all of our tier list rankings, let's go ahead and get into my definitive ranking of the top 100 shoujo on AniList and My Anime List. So we are starting off super strong with one of my favorite series ever. We got 7 Seeds. This one is a no-brainer. This is a masterpiece of a series that we still do not have in English. Don't let the anime fool you if you thought it wasn't very good. The manga is incredible. Yumi Tamura absolutely crushes it with this series. I just think 7 Seas is truly one of the best manga ever created. So obviously 7 Seeds is going into the chapter 138 of Chihayafuru tier. There is no doubt about it. So next up we have Banana Fish. This one might be semi-controversial. I've talked about this series before. I didn't like it that much. I think it was good. I think it was interesting. I like the characters a lot. But my biggest issue with this series is the fact that I think it just runs on for too long and gets really, really repetitive. Akemi Yoshida just kind of introduces new bad guys, and the bad guys never really add much to it as the series goes on, and that is why this one is going in the what if I told you a woman's manga tier. I think the anime did a little bit better with condensing a lot of the repetition that happens later in the series. I know we just talked about 7 Seeds and Yumi Tamura and how good she is. Basara is next. Once again, Basara is just an incredible series, absolutely amazing. I cannot recommend this series enough. It's available on the Viz app if you haven't read it, and really anything by Yumi Tamura is going to be ending up in the chapter 138 of Chihayafuru tier. Truly just one of the best manga artists of our time. The next series on the list is Beauty Pop, a manga that I read when I was a kid, so this was around high school, late middle school era. I used to love this series, and I kind of started reading a bit of it again recently because it was on the Viz app once again. What I have to say about this series is that it's cute. I love the main character. The way it's written is very childish though, but because the series holds a lot of sentimental value to me, nostalgic value to me, I think I'm gonna have to put Beauty Pop into the cheese and dessert tier, and I feel bad for doing that, but I did really like it as a kid, and I think if I was a kid again and I read this, I would probably like it just as much as I did when I was in high school. But you know, I'm a refined adult. I have refined tastes now, like cheese and dessert. Next up is Cardcaptor Sakura. This is one that I've kind of mixed the anime and the manga together in my brain because I grew up with the anime, I grew up with the manga, but I feel like I read more of the later arcs of the manga and I watched more of the early arcs as an anime. So I don't know how accurately I can place Cardcaptor Sakura. I really liked the Master of the Clow part of the series, and I read that manga like so often as a kid. There is so much stuff that Clamp does that is just like insanely problematic. You know, there's a teacher dating a fucking elementary school student, for God's sake. There is so much in Cardcaptors that is good, but then also so much that is Clamp. So I think what I have to do with this one, because it holds a lot of value nostalgically and like formatively for me as a child, I'm gonna have to put it in the what if I told you a woman's manga tier. It has cemented itself as such an integral series in my life that I can't put it any lower than that. All right, next up is Cat Street. Now, Cat Street is a manga that many people probably haven't heard of. It is a more recent work from the Boys Over Flowers mangaka, and this one is a really incredible series. It's been a while since I've read it, but I remember loving it when I first read it. I really liked the themes about like child actors and how the pressure of like being so famous as a kid really kind of like messes you up for the rest of your life, but that doesn't mean it's the end of your life. I'm surprised we don't have it in English still. We have a lot of other works from the Boys Over Flowers mangaka. I just read Crown of Thorns recently, and that was a fun little 2-volume manga from her. I'm putting Cat Street into the androgynous shoujo character tier. Alright, unfortunately next on list we have Aoharu Ride. For anyone who doesn't know, I am not a fan of this series. I like some of Io Sakisaka's work. I really like Strobe Edge, and I did like Love Me, Love Me Not when I first read it. It's been a while since I've read that one. But Aoharu Ride, there's just something about this series that has always pissed me off, and it's always been in the second half of this manga that I just can't stand the choices that were made in the writing. And then, you know, just the icing on the cake is having oh, he got hit by a car, or did he die, did he not? I thought that was a stupid way to end the manga. This isn't the worst series ever. Like I said, the I'm making a spectacle of myself tier, something kept me reading. I just wanted it to be over. I could keep reading, so why not? So, you know, it has to go into the I'm making a spectacle tier, but I wouldn't really recommend the series. I didn't like it. For the next title, we have Diary of a Female Lead. This is a super new series, and there was actually something I noticed when I was going through the top 100 manga on My Anime List and Annie List. My Anime List mostly had older titles, and then Annie List mostly had newer titles that were in the top 100. I think that makes sense because My Anime List is kind of a relic of a site. So of course the newer titles are probably going to rank higher on a website where more people are using it now. Anyway, that was just a quick observation, so let's rank Diary of a Female Lead. This is one of those series where it's cute, I like it, I don't really have that many feelings about it. I think it's an interesting high school romance series. It's got good side characters. I really like the side character that's more androgynous and wears pants to school, and I'm like, hell yeah, you are just like me. I was also wearing pants at school, and I was the only one to do so. Relatability, you can get me there every time. So because this one is cute and I like it, I think it could go just right comfortably into What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. Alright, next up we have another fucking banger, A Condition Called Love. This is one of my favorite manga series. I was avoiding reading volume 16 for about a month because I knew what happened in that volume, so I was trying to save myself the absolute heartache that it would cause me. It is so smartly written, the characters are just so human, and everything about A Condition Called Love just like screams perfect series. There is nothing that I could say is wrong with this manga because it is just so incredibly well done, and be absolutely recommended to anyone who can handle complex characters. If you can't, maybe you just stay away from it, because I don't need anyone review bombing my favorite series just because they can't handle a complex character. So yes, A Condition Called Love goes into the chapter 138 of Chihaya Furu tier. Next up is Fruits Basket, which is another series I read when I was a kid. I have reread it recently, and obviously I also watched the new adaptation of the anime. This is a really good series. I still think it holds up pretty well for, you know, being from the late 1990s. There are obviously some flaws in Fruits Basket. You know, a lot of people wish that there were more queer relationships in it. The way that Ritsu was handled wasn't amazing. But overall, I think the way that it deals with trauma, the way that it deals with grief, the handling of Toru's character, and just overall the story is really good. My only gripe with it now is that I know what Natsuki Takaya is capable of with her other series, Twinkle Stars, and for that reason Fruits Basket just doesn't hit quite like it used to, but it is still a staple series. Everyone loves it for a reason. It is going into the androgynous shoujo character tier. Iced coffee break. Next up is Daytime Shooting Star. As some of you may know, this is a series that I am very proud of, and that's a stupid thing to say, but I won the shipping war in this one. I was in the trenches and I won, and maybe I got that one disease that you have to chop your foot off because you're in the trenches, and I can't remember the name of it, but you know what? I came out victorious, and that's all that matters. The reason that this series is getting docked points, I guess, is because of the fact that Shishio is my worst enemy, and he spends way too much time being a main lead in this series, and I hate him so much. Reading about this like 26, 27-year-old man pursuing a 15-year-old, 16-year-old girl made me wanted to absolutely vomit. Overall, this was a very fun series. I love Suzume as a character. I love Mamura as a character. It's near and dear to my heart. I can't give it more than a what if I told you a woman's manga tier. Next up is another manga I'm kind of conflicted on because it holds a lot of value to me just from how good it was, but also there's a lot of stuff that's, you know, not so great in it. That is Dengeki Daisy. This is a series from Kyosuke Motomi. I thought it has a really cool premise of being about like hacking and computers and tech, and that was really fun. But you know, this is a series about like a 25-year-old janitor smoking guy who is like in love with a 15-year-old, and there's a lot of underwear humor in it, which is very, you know, shonen manga-y. That's definitely an MO of Kyosuke Motomi, so I've kind of just become accustomed to it with her. But yeah, I think Dengeki Daisy is a great series if you can get past the initial premise of the age gap relationship being kind of weird, but the actual content, the actual story is very good. So I think I'll put this one in cheese and dessert. All right, next up is a series I have not read before. This one is Hanato Akuma, and it's a Hanato Yume series. I don't really know much about it. I haven't been like interested to read this one, so this is actually one of the few that is not on my TBR, but maybe I'll check out at some point if it's really that good. Next we have From Far Away. This is an incredible isekai manga. It's only 14 volumes, but it has been out of print from Viz for so long now that a lot of people don't even know about this series. I didn't know about this series. The only reason I knew this is because a friend of mine recommended it. But I love how this series handles the language barrier. And while it's not like the most important thing that happens in this series, it is a very interesting aspect to have the main character get isekai'd into another world and not have the language barrier, you know, explained away, like she got put there in the TARDIS or something. The action in this series is really cool. I love Izark. I love all the side characters. This is just a really great manga and really fun for anyone who likes fantasy adventure series and definitely isekai series just for being so unique in that regard. So this one is definitely going into androgynous shoujo character tier. Next up is Drowning Love. This is, once again, incredible manga. It is a really good story about PTSD and dealing with the trauma and after effects of being SA'd. I love this series. I think it's so well written, and then obviously it is absolutely gorgeous to look at. George Asakura is just one of the best illustrators around. I love her art so much, and it adds such an incredible weight to a lot of the stuff that happens in this manga. I would highly recommend this one. It's only available digitally from Kodansha. I know a lot of people hate the ending of this one, but I can't give this any lower than chapter 138 of Chihai Furu. I love this series. Next we have Fall in Love, You False Angels. This is another series where, once again, it's a cute high school romance, and I like it. I think, if anything, this one would get extra points for having really, really good artwork. And also, I like how in later volumes of the series, the characters have this really good friendship together. They actually joke around with each other, which I don't feel like we get to see too often in romance series anymore. Those are the only two things that I would say really sets this series apart. So other than that, I think it just goes into the what if I told you a woman's manga tier. Next is Gakuen Babysitters, which I have not read. This one is so long. I don't know if I will get around to reading it at some point, maybe if it ever comes out in English. I know a lot of people love it. I just have no interest at the moment. Next up is Gakuen Alice. This has been a manga it's been forever since I read. I don't know if I ever even finished it because Tokyopop obviously didn't finish releasing volumes of this manga because they went out of business before they could. So I'm kind of going off of vibes here, but I just remember loving the premise of it, of having these characters go to like a school and they all have powers. It was just really different from anything I had read at the time, and I really, really loved it as a kid. Since I can't really say what exactly I like or dislike about it, I think this one would safely go into the What If I Told You a Woman's Manga tier because I remember liking it, but I don't know anything about the ending. The next high school romance series that I like and is cute and nice on the list is Futari Jime Romantica, or Romantic? I can't remember the exact last part of that title. The thing that once again sets this cute, nice high school romance apart is that the illustrations are gorgeous. They're so cute. I really love them. And also just the characters are really fun. But unfortunately, this manga didn't have a ton of time to really fulfill everything that it could. It only got 3 volumes. I don't think I could put it any higher than Cheese and Dessert though, which is apt because this is a dessert manga title. After that one, we have Ghost Hunt. This is such a good mystery horror series. The very first volume kind of tricks you into thinking that there's no supernatural elements in the manga, but then as it goes, it gets more kind of like creepy, eerie, has more ghosts, has more monsters and stuff. For someone who's not very good at guessing plot twists or anything like that, I did not see the plot twist coming in this one. I'm gonna put this in the androgynous shoujo character tier. Then we have Fushigi Yugi Genbu Kaden, which I was surprised to see the spin-off of Fushigi Yugi on the top 100, but not actually Fushigi Yugi. I just reread Fushigi Yugi recently and I liked it. I think it was a very like middle of the road good adventure series, but I also haven't read the spin-offs yet, and I actually, because of this video, I started Genbu Kaden last night and I read 2 chapters. And I already think I prefer the main character of Genbu Kaden more than I do Miyaka. But since I can't say anything more than that about Genbu Kaden, I'm just gonna have to put this one into haven't read. Next up is another more recent title, My Girlfriend's Child. It is just an incredible, incredible manga, and that's the only way I know how to say that I really like something, by calling it incredible. 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 I made a whole video about this manga. It's such a good series. If you like really good drama, if you love really good human relationships and like portraying those dynamics in a very real way, I think you will love this manga. And I also just have to give it credit for really handling the aspect of teen pregnancy very well and just all the angles that you could tackle this issue at. I think My Girlfriend's Child is one of the best shoujo manga to come out recently, and for that reason, I have to put it at chapter 138 of Chihaya Furu. Next up is Happy Cafe, which was a Tokyopop series I remember seeing all the time, but I never actually read. I guess it's good. I guess let me know if you guys like it, if you read it in the comments, but I have not read it yet, so I will have to put it into haven't read. Now we have High School Debut, which I just reread recently, once again, because it is on the Viz app. Look at what happens when you have digitally available shoujo titles. You could just pick it up and read it at any moment. Isn't that fantastic? I wish that would happen more often. High School Debut was one of my favorite series as a kid. I love Kazune Kawahara. I love basically everything that she does, every single one of her mangas. She has such a good way of writing great romantic relationships and also just really good slice of life. And High School Debut is no exception. There's some later arcs that I'm like whatever about. But other than that, I do really like High School Debut, and it is just a very solid high school romance series. So I think this one will solidly go in the What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. We now have 2 series that I have yet to read. First, I'm just gonna put House of Sun into haven't read. I've never really had a huge desire to read it. It's not even on my TBR really, so I haven't read it, probably won't read it. The next one though is A Cruel God Reigns by Moto Hagio, and I would love to read this series. Currently I have read They Were 11, The Po Clan, and Heart of Thomas from Moto Hagio, so I would love to have A Cruel God Reigns in English as well. And if Fantagraphics, if Rachel Thorne would love to, you know, bring some more Moto Hagio again, Cruel God Reigns, it's right there. I'd love to read it. Back to manga I have read though. Next we have Immortal Reign. This was kind of a dated manga series. I liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun, but the initial artwork of it isn't very good. It's very like how to draw anime in like 2006 style. So it really took me a while before I could be like, okay, I think I like this series. I think it's pretty good. But if you're looking for something with action, if you're looking for something with a little bit of romance, I think Immortal Reign is going to be a shoujo series you're going to want to check out. But once again, I think this one's just gonna have to go to the What If I Told You a Woman's manga. It's a little slow to start and the art's not amazing, but once you get into it, it gets pretty good. After that, we have Full Moon by Arina Tanemura, which is another series I read as a kid. But when I saw that this manga was going to be in this video, I wanted to give it a reread because it had been so long, and I was like, I don't know if I really remember what happens in Full Moon or what it's really about. And then as I was rereading it, I was like, oh yeah, you know, there's a reason everyone loves this series. It's very similar to Fruits Basket in the giving every side character some relatable trauma or like very over-the-top melodramatic trauma. The thing that really makes it different than Fruits Basket, obviously, you know, different plots, but also just the fact that I think it is a little childish in its writing. It's very paced like a typical Arina Tanemura manga. She's very quick-paced. So I'm in the middle between Cheese and Dessert and What If I Told You a Woman's manga for this one. I'll just kind of like put it at the top of Cheese and Dessert. The characters are fun, but at the same time, the writing isn't quite there, so it's just like right on the edge. Next up, we have another recent series. This one is I See Your Face Turned Away. I love this manga. There's only 4 volumes out right now, and it's actually on hiatus. There's not too much to go on for this one other than the 4 volumes that I have read, which are all very good. I love how quiet and like introspective it is. And while it's not super unique to have multiple POVs of different characters in a manga, this one, it does it in such an interesting way that I really just think it's unique for that. And you know, I love an unrequited love story. I can't say no to that. I will have to put I See Your Face Turned Away in androgynous shoujo character tier. It is really such a good series, and I would really recommend it if you haven't checked it out yet. Next up is Karikano, and for a lot of the same reasons as Gakuen Alice, I might just have to put this one in What If I Told You a Woman's manga, because I love this series once again, but I don't remember a lot of the stuff that happens in later volumes. A lot of people have told me that some of the choices made in later volumes are questionable, but I don't remember them. So I can't say whether or not I agree with the choices made or not. But I will say I remember loving the 2 main characters a lot and the relationship they have and everything that they go through. So honestly, I'll just have to give this one a reread, and for now, I'm gonna put it in What If I Told You a Woman's manga. Another series I have not read, we have Koi Dano Ai Dano. This is a spin-off series to Secret Notes of Lady Kanako. I read the original, and it was just okay. So I never had a desire to read Koi Dano Ai Dano. I'm gonna put it on haven't read, obviously, because I haven't read it, but I don't know if I want to read it. Next up is Kadoca. Much like Card Captors, this is another series that I'm not sure how much of it I know because of the anime and how much I know because of the manga. I know I have read and watched both, but I can't remember much about the manga, and I remember a lot about the anime. First of all, let's just say I love Kadoca. Kadoca is so fun, and it's got such melodramatic, emotional beats that I think are just so well done for a kid series. So once again, I think for nostalgia value, and I have to go into What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. Then we have Kasan Yamada. This is a series I have not read yet, but I would really like to. I can't say no to a GL series, and I will eventually get around to this one because I'm trying to read more GL lately. Next up is another Shoujo Beat classic. We have Godchild. Godchild is a spin-off from the Kane Saga. I have never read the Kane Saga. I've only read Godchild, so I was a little confused when I started reading this manga, and I actually have it on hold right now because I have been trying to collect the volumes. However, while I was confused while reading this one, I still really liked it. The artwork is very good. You know, Kaori Yuki is always going to deliver when it comes to anything gothic. And I am excited to read more of this one, but I think because I haven't continued and I've put it on hold and I've only read 3 volumes of it, I'm gonna have to put it in cheese and dessert for right now. All right, now we have The Heart of Thomas, which is from Moto Hagio. I read this one recently and I really liked it. I thought it was a very good series, very melodramatic once again, has a lot of themes about grief and trauma and dealing with sexuality, which is all the stuff that you would come to expect in either A, Moto Hagio, or B, a classic 70s shoujo. I think while Heart of Thomas is obviously very formative for the BL genre and also just very formative for shoujo manga as a whole, it wasn't like my favorite thing ever. I definitely liked They Were 11 and The Poklan more from Moto Hagio, but because it is, you know, so formative, it's hard to give it a lower ranking, I guess. So we're gonna put it at the top of What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. I'm sure a certain subsect of people are gonna be very excited about that ranking. All right, guys, next we have Peak. We have Peak Fiction. It is Colette Decides to Die. Everyone knows I love this manga. I have championed it since before it got licensed in English. I love Colette so much. Go watch my video about it, you know? Like, what else am I supposed to say? It's an incredible series. So Colette is obviously chapter 138 of Chihayafuru. Now we have Last Game. I like Last Game. It's nice and cute. Honestly, this one I really don't have that many thoughts on. I'm not even gonna pretend I have a lot of thoughts on it. Because this one really doesn't have much of an impression on me, I'm gonna have to put it in cheese and dessert. It's there. Then we have In the Clear Moonlit Dusk, which I know there are a bunch of people who are haters for this series on Twitter, but I like it, okay? It's middle of the road, but I like it. Yoi is such an incredible character. She's got such an amazing character design. Mika Yamamori really popped off with Yoi's character design. I think her relationship with Ichimura is cute. It's not the best thing in the series. I think the best thing in the series is more just Yoi's exploration and self-identity. And while there isn't too much of that goes on, it's still interesting and I still like this manga. I think it has to go in What If I Told You a Woman's Manga, because it's not the most groundbreaking thing, but I do genuinely enjoy this manga. After that, we have Children of the Whales. This is a manga that I read last year for the first time. Now, this series is so well illustrated. It's gorgeous. I love the line work in this series. It's so delicate and intricate. The designs for all the creatures, the designs for the ships and the towns. I love everything about the illustration in this manga. The plot can be a little like here and there sometimes, especially later in the series when it gets a little convoluted. But I think overall, the core of the series is really what makes it so good. And I think for that, it needs to go into androgynous shoujo character tier. All right, we're gonna take a second so that I stop being so positive. Something people always say about me is that I'm too positive. But next we have Cheeky Brat, and I don't like this manga. It goes on for so long. And the fact that she never really rejects the second male lead, and he just keeps sticking around pretending he has a shot, it's so infuriating. I also don't really like the relationship between the two main leads. They suck. They actually suck together. I guess I have to put it in I'm Making a Spectacle because, like, I read the whole thing. I'm mad about it, but I did. No, it's going in Kazuya Kinoshita. I don't like this manga. The more I'm thinking about it, the angrier I'm getting. All right, next up, we have Kageki Shojo. This is such a good manga. I didn't actually like the prequel that much. I thought the prequel could get a little too preachy and was like very on the nose, but the Kageki Shojo run that is in a shoujo magazine has been so good. I like how it actually focuses on the acting aspect. I think it has just gotten so much better since it started in a shoujo magazine. It needs to go into androgynous shoujo character tier. If that prequel didn't exist, honestly, I think it would go in chapter 138. Next up is a shoujo classic. We have Kami-sama Kiss. I really like Kami-sama Kiss. I think it's one of the best uses of time travel, and I know that's a really weird, like, opinion to have. I will have to say, there's some flaws in it, but I think it's just a really endearing series, and all of the yokai in it is really fun. And obviously, we love our girl, our main female lead, Nanami. She's just so fun. This one has to go in androgynous shoujo character. Next up is Hanakimi, and I have been rereading this one recently because I don't know if I ever finished it when I was a kid, but it was another one of those ones that I really, really liked, and I just didn't remember much about, but Hanakimi is really good. The thing about Hanakimi is that I think it's much better as a slice of life manga. There's not a huge focus on the relationships with the main leads, and it's more just the everyday life of this dorm of boys and this one girl who's disguising herself as a boy. It's just a really nice, cozy read. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who just wants a good slice of life series that's got a little bit of gender bending in it. And you also got the anime coming out soon. So this one is going into What If I Told You a Women's Manga. Next up is Happy Marriage, My Happy Marriage. I have mostly just been keeping up with the anime now. I used to read the manga, and because the manga kind of went on hiatus, I haven't really kept up with it since, volume 5. I like the anime, I like the manga, I think it's okay. So, I don't know, I think this one's gonna have to go into cheese and dessert on the higher side. It's good, I like it, but it's just kind of like okay. It's not groundbreaking. Next up is Kimi ni Teddok. Everyone knows Kimi ni Teddok is one of my top favorite manga series. I love a coming-of-age drama romance, and Kimi ni Teddok is just incredible in that regard. I think the later volumes of Kimi ni Teddok really solidify it as just an absolute classic and a great coming-of-age series. So this one's gonna have to go in chapter 138 of Chihaya Furu. Next one is Glass Mask. I have not read this yet. This one is, long-running shoujo series from Hanato Yume. That's a classic. I would love to read it. Maybe one day, but there's just so much of it that I would really have to sit down and read it if I were to. Next is Laughing Under the Clouds. This one is okay. I couldn't really follow some of the stuff that happens in the later volumes. It's really just an okay series. There's action. I read it. I couldn't tell you the characters' names. I think it's just gonna have to go in I'm Making a Spectacle, because, I finished it, and it's okay. And I would recommend it to people, but I don't know. You film a ranking video for long enough and you're just gonna run out of things to say. All right, and now we have come to Library Wars. This is such a good manga. Everything that is going on with all the library school book bans, that is what Library Wars is about, essentially. It's a world where libraries were getting censored, and so, you know what? Local governments decided, hey, no, you can't censor us. This is our library, not the national government's, so fuck you. We have a library defense force now. And on top of just a really good plot, you also have a really good romance. And you know what? That's what shoujo does best, is good plot, good romance, mix it all together, and it makes an androgynous shoujo character. Next up is Life by Keiko Suenobu. I love this series as well. I still haven't finished it yet. I believe I'm on volume 10? But if you're looking for some crazy melodrama, some crazy soap opera shit, this is what's going on in this manga. Two girls just get stuck in a warehouse and then it explodes and they have to jump out a window. I love the two female leads. They're very gay for each other. and I hope it actually does turn into Yuri. I think because the two female leads are very gay for each other, as they should be, we're putting that in androgynous shoujo character tier. Next up, we have Lovecom, which is made by the psychopath that is Aya Nakahara, and I will never let that go. Lovecom is another very good series. I very much like it. I love the comedy. I love the characters. I think it can get a little iffy sometimes, but it's good still. It's a lot of fun still. I would recommend it to anyone just because it's a staple. It's a staple rom-com series. If you love two characters bickering with each other, but they clearly like each other, then Lovecom is for you. And I think for that reason, it's going in What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. It's good. It's not my favorite thing on earth, but it's good. Next up is Lovesick Ellie. It's got a recent premise though, you know, this girl who is very socially online, but is kind of a nobody. That's a very quintessential shoujo trope right now. I really do like Lovesick Ellie though. It is such a cute series. I really love the characters. Ellie is obviously so funny. She's such a good depiction of kind of like a repressed, horny teenage girl. You just gotta love Ellie for that. I think this is just a really fun manga, and honestly, for that, it must go in androgynous shoujo tier. After that, we have Love So Life. I remember reading this one in middle school, but I could not tell you anything more about what happens in this series. This is just one of those series where it's like the age gap is clearly because the girl has daddy issues, and I don't know if I actually finished this one, so I think it's gonna have to go in Kazuya Kinoshita. I was surprised to see Love So Life was so high on these shoujo lists. A lot of people apparently love this series. Next up is Machkun Noakay. This is a series that does not have an English release, but I have read it and it is just incredible. It is so good. It makes you have the will to live. Machida-kun is just the goodest of boys, and I love this series a lot. Anytime I need a comfort read, Machida-kun is what I go for. I think it's going to go into androgynous shoujo character tier. I like it a lot, but I think I would prefer another manga series for more of my like cozy reads at this point. Next up, we have Maid Sama. Now, Maid Sama, this one holds a lot of nostalgic value to me, but then I reread it semi-recently, and I was like, oh, this doesn't hold up. I used to love Usui, and now I hate him, but I love Misaki so much. I think I have to put this one into cheese and dessert tier. I do love Maid Sama a lot still. Their first kiss, and when they celebrate Usui's birthday, those two events are like ingrained into my brain. I'm gonna have to put it in cheese and dessert. I can't put it any lower than that, even though a lot of the stuff in this manga does not hold up. Now we have come to Mars. Mars is incredible. Chef's Kiss, beautiful series. It's very unique in how Ray is like a delinquent, you know? He's like beating people up, he's riding motorcycles. I feel like we don't get a lot of Rays in shoujo anymore. My biggest issue in Mars though is really just the fact that the female lead doesn't have a ton to do in the series. And so because of that one like small flaw in Mars, I think I'm gonna have to put it into androgynous shoujo character. But overall, it really is just a good manga, and the end of the manga is still really good. It just focuses mostly on Ray. For the next series, we have My Love Mixup. This is a super cute BL. It unfortunately ended a little too soon, I will say, and there was a really dumb amnesia fake out arc in the last volume that was so unnecessary. But this is just a really fun series. It explores your sexuality in like a fun way that's not like super over dramatic. It's very comedic. I'm gonna put it in What If I Told You a Woman's Manga just because it's nice, it's cute, I like it, but it's not like the most groundbreaking thing ever. It's just a really good, solid rom-com series. After that, we have My Little Monster, which I have not read read in a very long time. I remember liking the manga quite a bit, but I think because this is one of those cases, once again, where I liked it as a kid and I don't remember much about it, I think this one's gonna have to go into What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. Speaking of the manga artist of my Love Mixup, we have My Love Story next. This is a Kazuna Kawahara story. She did not do the artwork on this one, but I actually really like this manga. I kind of avoided it for a while because this was like the token shoujo that dudes were like, oh, shoujo can be good sometimes when it's about a boy. And that is a testament to Kazune Kawahara. Once again, she just can't miss when it comes to any sort of rom-com series. Asexual king, side character in this. This one's just gonna have to go into What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. Next up is Nana, the other token shoujo for many non-shoujo fans. This one and Yona of the Dawn are the two that got #1 on either of these website rankings. It was kind of like either Nana had it or Yona of the Dawn had it, and then whatever didn't have it was in the second spot. Now, this might be sacrilegious of me. I just think Nana is good. I don't think it's the best thing ever made. I think the character drama is really good. I think the narrative is really good, but I am just not a huge fan of continual drama that never really gets solved. I do think that that is a very human part of Nana and like a realistic portrayal of human relationships because things don't really get solved and they're over. So while I do really like Nana, it's not my favorite thing ever. It's gonna go on the lower tier of androgynous shoujo character. After Nana, we have Natsme's Book of Friends. We all know I love Natsme's Book of Friends. This is like my go-to cozy read now. And now that I have watched Natsme's, I'm like, come on. This is like the one that you read when you just want to cozy in with a book and feel something, feel emotions, you know? Whether it be sad or happy or love because you just want to cuddle Nyanko. Natsme's is like one of my favorite series, so obviously that is going to be going into the chapter 138 of Chihaya Furu tier. Now we have Neighborhood Story. This is one of the manga that I was going to read this year for my TBR list, and I finished it semi-recently, and it's only like 4 to 5 volumes long, and it was cute. I had no issues with it. I thought the side character, Bodiko, I can only remember her name as Bodiko. I loved her character, and I really don't know why, but she was such a good character. Other than that, I wasn't like super invested in the main characters and their relationships. I just really liked the side characters, and the plot was fun. It was a nice series, but it's not my favorite, so I think it's gonna go on the higher side of cheese and dessert. So for this next one, I need the title because I don't remember the full title very well. I'm going to nickname it Nekota no Koto. This is a really, really good Riven series that is also just a very good like coming of age manga. I really like how it talked about the awkward stage of growing up and you kind of start like noticing the people that you have crushes on, and you kind of notice that everyone else is starting to care more about like, oh, getting a boyfriend or getting a girlfriend, and things kind of start getting awkward because your body is changing, and the fact that this manga covered all that, I just thought it was so interesting, and it was just really fun for a series that was about a girl who sees a guy with a cat head. After that, we have number 6. This is a sci-fi BL title. A lot of people love this series. I was so underwhelmed by it. Not only was I underwhelmed by this manga because I thought the ending was bad, but I also was just underwhelmed by the pacing of it, and I wasn't really a big fan of the artwork. It just didn't hit like I wanted it to hit for a sci-fi series. But because I finished it, you know, I was obviously interested in it in some regard, so I think I'm gonna have to put number 6 into I'm Making a Spectacle. Next up is Nukuzuk. This is a recently released title from One Piece Books. I've read a couple volumes. It's meh. You know, I think it's cute. It's very cute. The characters are cute. The little cat designs are cute, but like, I've never been a huge fan of short chapter, but lots of chapter series, and this is one of those series. You know, it's up to you guys if you think that's a bad thing or not. All right, back to peak though, because we got Oku, The Inner Chambers. Incredible, incredible manga. So good. Underrated as hell in America. Like, no one's reading or watching this series, and it is amazing. I love retellings of history. I love when they're like critiques of the patriarchy. I love when there's just a really fresh, interesting take on something that I haven't read before, and Oku is definitely that. If I had to critique Oku in one way, it is just that there was not enough lesbians in this one. There is one character, lesbian icon, but Oku is amazing. This one is going into chapter 138 of Chihayafuru. Bro, how many do I have left? My voice is hoarse. After Oku, we have Orange. Orange is a series, once again, I read it as a kid. I don't know if I finished it. I really like it. I love the premise. I love all the characters. I love the theme, but I can't say, you know, whether it holds up or not. But I think because this one is another one of those cases of I read it a while ago, I haven't reread it since. This is gonna have to go into What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. For the next series, we have Orisama Teacher. This is another one that I haven't finished reading yet, but I've really enjoyed what I have read. I love the main character. I love the premise of it. I love the plot. I'm not a huge fan of like the will they won't they with the teacher, but sometimes the will they won't they is very funny at the same time. If you're a big fan of Gekkan Nozaki-kun, this one is from the same author, and I think it has a lot of the same humor as that series too, but is like an actual shoujo series. I'm gonna have to put this one in What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. Next up is Ouran High School Host Club, and now this is probably going to end up being a controversial opinion. I think this manga is just okay. I loved it as a kid. I obviously loved Haruhi as a kid. Comedy, I think, does really hit for the series at times, but at other times, it can just feel a little too much. I liked it a lot as a kid. It's just not as much for me anymore. So I think Ouran goes into cheese and dessert. After that, we have Please Save My Earth. I think there are a lot of decisions that are both complex and also maybe not the best choice, especially for the ending, but I really like this series. Once again, it's about like grief and trauma and generational trauma, even remembering your past life and having to cope with the fact that this other life lives inside of you. It's also just got some really cool sci-fi aspects to it, and just overall really great series. Highly recommend, and it is going into androgynous shoujo character. We have another series I have not read yet. This is Poem of the Wind and Trees, another classic BL series from Keiko Takemiya. This one's a classic for a reason. I would love to read it. If someone wants to license it in English, you know, like, do that, please. I'd love to physically support it if I could, but alas, that is not the case. So for now, I have not read. Once again, we have another Peak series. I think everyone who knows me and knows my channel knows I love Queen's Quality. The manga just ended recently, and I think the ending was just perfect. I could not picture a better ending for this series. I am so sad to see Queen's Quality go. It was so good. I've been watching a lot of Sad Boys recently, and in my head I keep saying, welcome to Queen's Quality, a manga about feelings and other things also. I'm Fumi. Anyway, Queen's Quality, the manga about feelings and other things, also is going at chapter 138 of Chihayafuru tier. All right, boys, we can't all be winners, and that is what Rainbow Days is. I do not like this manga. I do not like the characters. I don't like any of the couples in it either. So many things in this manga piss me off. I really don't like Rainbow Days. I don't know why I have such a vendetta against it, but I don't like it at all. After that, we have Red River. Red River is so much fun. You know, there's a lot of stuff that I could say is problematic and toxic and not great about this manga, but it's just so fun. This is like what a fun, good isekai is supposed to be. And like, you have a part where these two dudes take off their clothes and naked wrestle in the mud, and it's funny. You can't get any better than that. So I'm putting this one in What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. It's just a lot of fun. Next up, we have Reliving My Life with a Boyfriend Who Doesn't Remember Me. I tried to read it before it got licensed just to see if I would be interested in it. And I read the first chapter and I had a panic attack because it was a little too focused on like what happens when you die. But after that first chapter, I was able to keep reading it. I was like, okay, let's calm down. And this manga is so good. I love that it's set in like a magic school academy because now I get to be like, hey, read this one instead of Harry Potter. If you aren't reading this one right now, you need to be. It's currently releasing from 7 Seas. There's only 3 volumes out, and every single volume, I want the next one. This one is going into androgynous shoujo character category. After that, we have Requiem of the Rose King, and obviously, this one's going to chapter 138 of Chihayafuru. I love Requiem of the Rose King so much. It's such a great manga. Super underrated as well. I think it wouldn't be as underrated if it was just put in the shoujo beat line, but no, it's too complicated for shoujo readers. No, it has to just be a Viz title. Just like Oku though, I love the historical retelling part. I love the focus on sexuality and gender and intersex. It has a lot of these really good elements that all come together with this amazing gothic artwork. Requiem of the Rose King is so fucking good. If you haven't read it, please read it. It's amazing. After Rose King, we have Rose of Versailles. So funny enough about Rose of Versailles, I remember when I first read it, I was just like, this was good. I liked it. But as time has gone on, I've kind of liked it more and more and more. It's still not my favorite series ever. I still think there were aspects of it that just haven't aged well, and not because I don't think the concepts or the themes aged well, or even the writing choices. It was more the pacing. You could definitely tell that this is an older manga because the pacing is just very quick and fast, and it puts you into different parts of the series without like really giving you a good idea of how much time has passed. And that's my only really big gripe of this manga, is that sometimes the way that time passes in the series is just not portrayed well and can get very confusing. I kind of have to put this one an androgynous shoujo character made by Ryoko Ikeda because that is literally what Rose of Versailles is. So I'm putting it at the top of androgynous shoujo character. Next up, you guys, don't kill me. I've never read Sailor Moon. You got me. I've never read Sailor Moon. I do definitely plan on reading it eventually. I want to read it sometime soon. And actually, I want to read Sailor Moon and I want to reread Card Captors and maybe actually end up reading Clear Card at some point. But yeah, I haven't read Sailor Moon. I'm sorry guys, please don't kill me in the comments. Next up, we have Sand Chronicles. As we all know, the GOAT. I love Sand Chronicles. It is near and dear to my heart. Every time I reread it, I love it even more. Hinako Ashihara just has such a good way of portraying characters and writing, and I love her artwork too. It's just very soft. It's so formative for me. Really, you can't give it anything other than chapter 138 of Chihayafuru. After that, we have Sasaki and Miyano. It's not the best thing ever. I think what I don't like about it is like the meta on BL tropes. I like the dynamic between Sasaki and Miyano. It was cute, but yeah, I think what really just put me off from the series from like really loving it is it was just a little too like self-referential. For that reason, it will have to go into cheese and dessert. Next up is A Sign of Affection, and once again, this might be a controversial take. I don't know how many people love this series, but A Sign of Affection is just okay to me. I like Yuki a lot, but Yuki doesn't get a lot to do in the series, and it's been focusing more on Itsuomi and Oshi lately, and I really could not give a fuck about Oshi. Like, he's fine, whatever, but like, I don't care. I want to see Yuki. It just kind of went back to the love triangle. Oh, Oshi is so sad. Oh, Oshi can't be with his childhood friend. Who gives a fuck? So it's going in cheese and dessert. I just really don't care about Oshi. Next up is Silver Diamond. This is a really fun kind of fantasy isekai adventure series, a little BL adjacent. I haven't finished it yet, so obviously I can't give it like too high of a score. So it's just gonna go in What If I Told You a Woman's Manga for now, because it's a lot of fun. I think the pacing can be a little all over the place, and you're not really sure where you are sometimes and how much time has passed in this manga. So at some point, I would love to finish this manga. I have really enjoyed what I read so far. All right, next up, we got Skip Beat. Skip Beat is just an amazing, long-running acting, drama, romance, comedy. It's a little bit of everything. It even had some action in it sometimes. Of course, Skip Beat goes into chapter 138 of Chihaya Furutier, and same with Snow White with the Red Hair. Basically, any manga that I have done an individual video on is in my top tier. Snow White is just a really great slice of life series. I love all the medical aspects of it. I love watching Shirayuki's journey and kind of finding herself and becoming a great herbalist, and how the two come together to maximize their joint slay, you know? I know some people have issues with Snow White, they think it's boring, but I really like it. I think a lot of the stakes that go on in the manga are really well written, and I love how cozy it can feel at the same time. After that, we have How I Met My Soulmate. Aggressively mid. I liked the beginning of How I Met My Soulmate, but I think it just kind of lost its luster a bit. The beginning of it was nice because it had this atmospheric nighttime vibe to it, and now it doesn't really have that as much anymore, and it's just okay. It's really just the pinnacle of okay. Next up, we have a fairly new shoujo series. This is Studio Cabana. I love this manga. We need it in English because it is so good. If you're a fan of Given, if you're a fan of Nana, I think this one is going to hit a lot of the same beats. My one gripe with this series is it focuses a little too much on the male lead in this recent half of the manga, and the female lead has kind of like disappeared from the story for the most part, which has been really sad because I like the female lead a lot. So because of that, it's not going in the top tier, it's going into androgynous shoujo character. Next up, we have another series from the mangaka of Lovesick Ellie. This is a super recent series from her called Love That's an Understatement. We have this one digitally from Kodansha, and they are running this one for the print club, but I don't see anything about the print club anymore, so who knows what's going on there. This one will be kind of reminiscent of Mars for some people, but like the more sweet, nice version of Mars that doesn't have a lot of trauma in it. I feel like I don't really know everyone super well. I don't know the main character Zen very well. I kind of know the female lead. I think she's very endearing. It's okay. It's like good, and I like the premise and I like the characters, but I need it to give me something more. For now, I think that's just going to go in What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. After that, we have Tokyo Babylon, which I've been reading for the first time because Yen Press has put out the premium collection. I have enjoyed this one. It's a very typical early clamp work. I don't know if I'm like super into the characters, the individual stories, because it's very episodic. I feel like I can't really get into the series, but I've enjoyed the read every time I have read a new volume. So I guess I'll just put it in What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. I gotta let it marinate. Next up, we have Tokyo Crazy Paradise. This is from the same manga author as Skip Beat. I have not read this series. This one is a long-running like action mafia series, and I want to read this one so bad, but we don't have it in English, and the scans are shit. I would love to at some point. You know, if someone wants to license it, oh no, oops, I dropped my Tokyo Crazy Paradise. Wouldn't it be such a horrible thing if it got licensed? My throat hurts. Next, we have Tsubaki-cho Lonely Planet. I hate this manga. I hate it with a passion. I could not even finish it because I hated it so much. What I always say about this manga is that this is like what daddy issues is. I know some people who really like this manga series, and I am so sorry, but I just can't stand it. So this whole series is just about a girl who like has issues with her dad and doesn't have a place to live anymore, so she lives with this old author guy, and then he like is basically a replacement of her dad, and she takes care of him, and she like cleans his house, but she's like 16 and he's like 30 or something. I don't know. I hate this series. I don't like it. It's going into Kazuya Kinoshita. Mika Yamamori is so hit or miss for me sometimes, and this was a huge miss for me. I don't like this manga at all. All right, because I need to recover from something I hate a lot, let's talk about something I like a lot. Umiga Hashiru Enderal. This is a really good coming of age manga that's for adults over the age of 50, you know? Because even older people deserve to come of age too. Everyone's coming of age at all times. Everyone's coming. This is a really great manga though. I love that it focuses on film and just kind of finding yourself even later in life. Because it's still ongoing, because there's no official release for this one, I'm putting this in androgynous shoujo character, but this one could definitely be in chapter 138 of Chihaya Furu down the line. After that, we have Usemo no Yado, which is a manga series that we don't have in English, but I believe the French have. This one is like a mystery manga, and I have not read it yet. For another mystery manga, next is Usatoki Rhetoric. I just finished this one recently because volume 10 just came out in English. Usatoki Rhetoric is so good. I really like it. It's just a lot of fun. I love the two main characters. I love the premise of like, oh, she can hear lies, and like, how do you deal with that? Are all lies bad lies? Are some lies good lies? Is it a lie to tell the truth? Is it the truth to tell a lie? It's not the best thing ever, but it is just very solid. It's very good. So it's going in What If I Told You a Woman's Manga. All right, we have another manga series I have not read yet, and that is Vassal Lord. I don't know anything about this manga. Let me know in the comments if you guys have read it, if you like it. Maybe it'll go on my TBR after I look into it a bit more. Next is Voiceover Seiyu Academy. This is from the same mangaka of Special A, and I really liked Special A as a kid, and I read Voiceover last year. This series is just so... It's so... I think it starts off really good, and then as it goes on, it just kind of forgets what it's doing. And I feel like it doesn't focus enough on the voiceover part, even though that's a big part of the manga. I had fun with it at times, so for that reason, it's going in cheese and dessert, but it's a convoluted series, to say the least. Next up is Wake Up Sleeping Beauty. This is like, when you have a good, efficient manga that's only 5 volumes, but has a really tight story and knows exactly what it wants to do with itself, you're gonna get gold. Wake Up Sleeping Beauty is just so well written. Once again, it's the same author as A Condition Called Love, so just all the relationships are complex. The story is so unique. I just read Wake Up Sleeping Beauty. This one's going in androgynous shoujo character. I love this manga. This one is the last series of the ones I haven't read. This is I Want to Be a Wall. I've heard this one is really good. It's about this girl who is ace but really likes BL, and this guy who's in love with his best friend, and he can't get married to him because his best friend, I believe, is married to someone else. So for convenience, and so people kind of shut up, these two get married to not like have to deal with all the societal pressures. Queer bonding. I would love to read this series, plan to at some point. I just haven't yet. After that, we have X1999 though. Crazy series. Absolutely wild. Everything about a Clamp series thrown at the wall and done so at 100%. I love X1999. I thought Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles was my favorite Clamp series. After reading even just half of X1999, this one's my favorite. It is so good. Because I haven't finished the manga though, I think it has to go into androgynous shoujo character. It might end up in chapter 138 of Chihayafuru if I ever finish it. Next we have my love story with the Yamada-kun at level 999. This one's nice, it's fun. I've enjoyed the later chapters of the manga more than I did the early chapters, and I also enjoyed the anime a lot more. So I think this one's gonna have to go into cheese and dessert. It's cute, but I just don't think there's a lot of substance to it. Second to last of our manga series for the day, we have Yona of the Dawn. The only reason I am putting Yona into androgynous shoujo character tier is because the early parts of the manga I just think are a little too slow and don't intrigue me as much. I also really don't like Hawk in the early parts of the manga. I don't care for the dragons as much in the early part of the manga. And it gets so good after like volume 13 and on. So from volume 13 and on, I would say chapter 138 of Chihayafuru, but I have to include the first 13 volumes as well. So I'm gonna say androgynous shoujo character made by Ryoku Ikeda for this one. And finally, we have come to our last manga. But our last series is You Got Me Senpai, and You Got Me, guys. It's chapter 138 of Chihayafuru. I have reread this manga so many times. Anytime I am sad, anytime I can't fall asleep, anytime I'm feeling down in the dumps, I read You Got Me Senpai and I just feel better. It's my favorite high school romance outside of A Condition Called Love. And I just really love You Got Me Senpai, and no one can ever take that from me. It is always going to be one of my top favorite series. All right, guys, and with that, we have the final definitive ranking of the top 100 shoujo series. Some of these, do they deserve to be in the top 100? No, not at all. Some of these, do they deserve to be higher in the top 100? Yes, absolutely. Are there some series I think that are missing on this list that I love? Yes, absolutely. Honestly, a couple that I'm surprised aren't on here are Boys Over Flowers. I'm surprised that more classic shoujo series aren't on here, like Tsukuman Deka. Some manga that I think I would put on there because I love them so much, definitely Sword of Paros and Twinkle Stars. Those would definitely be two additions to this list that I think would be necessary. It'll be interesting to see where some of the newer shoujo titles end up on the list after their anime adaptations come out, like Timon's B-Side and A Star Brighter Than the Sun. But there you have it, my top 100 shoujo manga ranking. Seven Seeds is obviously number one on the list. The last one on the list, Tsubakicho Lonely Planet. It's just like opposite ends of what I love and hate. I understand this was a very long video, so thank you to all my hojos. Welcome to any new hojos. Read Chihayafuru, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!